Folks, I don't know if you've heard, but it is official. Mortgage applications are stalling out. I think we've got 3 weeks in a row where they have disappointed and been negative. This goes to my thesis that above seven, bad, below seven is good. And yes, I do mean that literally 6.98 good, 7.02 bad. However, I just want to have an honest discussion. Just because I can predict consumer behavior does not mean that it is the right thing for you. I think it is fair to say we are still in a rather competitive real estate market. I do believe with every fiber of my body that when rates fall below seven, and if they ever get close to 6.5, watch out. So let's have a conversation with Matt, the mortgage guy, because some people might want to take advantage of a slower market with a little bit more time. You don't have to overbid. You're not going on tilt, which is unfortunately what I think happens, right? If you're waiting for rates to get to 6.5, so is everybody else. And some of you will go on tilt, which is not a good outcome for anybody. Matt, what do you think of all that?
Right. Yeah. Right now, the market is reasonable is a word I will put on it. Even saying that out loud, I've got to, mention a few caveats to that. Reasonable means that some buyers I have offered 150,000 above ask on Monday and removed contingencies and still didn't get their offer accepted. So if
Say that again. Say that again.
I shared this story with Ty
over?
yesterday, me and Ty talked, and great neighborhood, great house, shows well, super, super competitive. So when the buyer told me, hey, Matt, it's listed 975, we're going to have to offer 1,075,000. My agent has talked at length to the list side. A great agent that's not making this stuff up. Like, in order to be competitive, we've got to remove our contingencies. And in this case, it's not in all cases, I would say this, the buyer is not putting themselves at that much risk removing appraisal loan contingency because they're super strong buyer. If it appraises 30,000 below what they're in contract for, it's not going to affect them at all, putting 400,000 down. So I look for an update on Tuesday and I get, oh yeah, by the time we went to write and my real estate agent being a great agent checking in with the list side again, there was more offers. An offer below 1.1 wasn't even going to be in the running. So they upped to 1.125. Now 150 above list price, Mike. Did not get it. And so, back to your point, people might be waiting and saying like, oh, I'm going to wait until rates come down. It's going to be a little bit more affordable for me. It's that competitive now. It's that competitive at 7%, right? And, desirable neighborhoods in markets that are going to appreciate over the next couple of decades and places that people want to live. Like, there's just not a lot of housing supply. And so when I see a headline that's like mortgage application stall, like you said, 3 weeks in a row, if you call 0.6% down, it's just flat. It's not like applications fell off a cliff, but to your
negative headlines work, man. Negative headlines work.
Oh, 100%. And so here's my thing is I want people to hear me and I want to give you good advice. I don't want anything in return. I'm not selling you anything. Look at your situation as if like you were just dropped into this current environment with no context. Because you know it, Mike, consumer behavior goes off of like, well, rates were lower, now they're higher, I'm going to act according to that. Or rates are going down, I'm going to act according to that. For buyers, whatever the price is, whatever the rate is, whatever your pay is, whatever your current financial state is, that's what like the calculations you do. You're ready to buy or you're not. You're not timing your purchase. There's no great investor that looks back and go, you know what? 1987, I bought in this month and here's what, like, that's not how it works, right? You buy when you're ready to buy. And unfortunately, I can say that as many times as I want, Mike. People won't listen. They'll do like you said. They'll be herd mentality. Rates will go down to 6.5%. They'll all come roaring back and we'll wonder why a house that's listed for $499 sells for $625.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things. And again, I love that this channel's been around for 5 or 6 years now. We have receipts that people can go back to. I want to ask people to go back and watch the episodes of you and I talking the last 2 November and Decembers. The last 2 November and Decembers were slow periods where buyers were getting deals for list price.
And
That was
below,
happening.
they
And
were
below.
going below and concessions to buy the rate down. I was writing 2-1 buy downs. It was
Yep.
listed for 640. We're in contract at 615 plus
Sellers were
15,000
paying.
in credit. Oh my, it was glorious.
Yep. And rates were higher. And again, folks, a lot of real estate is understanding timing. And if you are a buyer, and buyers are first are home buyers and investors, trust me when I say this, you want less competition. You just want less competition. Now, I choose to look at off-market deals. I choose to look at days, 30 days or longer, right? You can change your variables, but a lot of people, if you're home shopping today, you don't have the luxury of time, right? You have a family need, a family event. And, you know, I would ask you to look at the situation as, you know what? Above 7, Mike says it's bad, and it is, and from a demand perspective. But maybe, unlike your example from earlier, maybe it'll give you a chance to pay less. And if you do the math, I mean, just do the math with your mortgage broker, run the math at 7.02 and run it at 6.88 and realize at 7.02, you pay list price. At 6.88, you pay 25 grand over. Run the math. I think you would be shocked at what the math says.
Yeah. And especially considering, you know, the price you pay, you don't get to change 6 months from now or 2 years from now. The rate you are in, I
It's a
can
one-way bet. It's
guarantee
a
you that
one-way
very
bet.
few people will be in those loans for more than 5 years. And I can say that with absolute certainty. You know, if I
Oh,
was
the
promising,
average is 6, or I think the average 10-year of mortgages is 6 years. It
right.
might go up because a lot of people have 2s now. But
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah,
those people are
historically
holding on to
speaking,
those. But yeah, that's the thing too, is, you know, I'm not going to guarantee someone we're going to refinance in 9 months, but like I can almost promise you, you're not going to be in this thing for longer than 3 or 5 years. And
right.
so, you know, it's a very interesting time. It's a scary time for some around real estate, but there's opportunity, just like me and you preached about Q4 of 23, Q4 of 22. People got phenomenal deals. I talked to somebody yesterday, Mike, that I closed in November, 7.499%. And they got great credit.
Okay.
They are so happy they bought that house. They got a great deal price wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
The house is perfect for them. They love it. They know. And I told them, listen, the stuff you're getting in the mail that's talking about 5.99%, that's a $15,000 charge. Hang tight. I'm going to tell you when that 599 is available for nothing. We're going to refinance and save you money. You get the November 2023 price when rates were high and people were scared. No one wanted to buy. That's the price you got. We'll refinance you and save you $300 or $400 a month later. And so they're a perfect example of what, in my opinion, is a good game plan around real estate, because a lot of people are going to wake up, you know, whatever month it is, and they're going to hear all the fuss, rates in the 5s. And oh my gosh, it's going to be wild. That's not the environment that I choose to buy in.
No, I would just ask people, just logically speaking, do you want to be a buyer in a market that has lots of competition or little competition? Add into that a finite supply. Finite supply, more or less competition, and act accordingly. I say that knowing it logically makes sense, also knowing that consumers who I've studied for 30 years will just go on their merry way. But here's the deal. You serve a certain set of clients. You just need a handful of those to appreciate what's going on, and you will help a lot of people. And you'll have more people come back to you going, "Hey, I got a deal, and refi me later." Trust me, when rates go down to 6.5 or 5.99, getting a deal, I don't like your chances.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is something about our process that we changed. And I don't think I've spoke about it with you before, so I might as well here. We went from doing hard credit pulls on all pre-approvals to realizing that people want to get a good idea of where they're at, how much they can afford, and what the mortgage looks like, not necessarily want the hard pull. And between me and you, Mike, for $130, I don't know if I want the hard pull either.
Yeah, I'll save that money. Thank you very much.
And so do yourself that favor, whether you're working with us and you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, or whether you've got somebody already that you work with who you like and trust on the mortgage side. Do yourself the favor of honestly not a lot of work. Upload some documents, fill out an application. You know what? At 550 grand, it's less than I thought. It's more than I thought. Maybe I reconsider. I start looking at stuff that's sub 500. Maybe, whatever the case may be, like, you just don't know what you don't know as a consumer. And I get it all the time where that pre-approval process, Mike, is like oh my gosh, didn't realize it. And then they change focus and strategy.
Yeah.
If you don't see those numbers, you're just out there. You got no idea what the plan is.
Folks, if you are out there thinking about it, you don't want to do a hard credit pull. I get it. I totally get it. You don't want to take the great hit, but you want to know where you're at. Matt, the mortgage guy and team is the place to go. Matt, where can they reach out and just figure out where they're at?
If you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, that comes into our ecosystem. We're licensed in 48 states. I've got a great team. We got great coverage wherever you're at. And so willing and able to have the conversation, get your goals. And generally speaking, that looks like, let's get you pre-approved. Let's give you some real numbers to work with. And like I tell my team, like I tell anybody who I come across, from a real estate agent to a buyer, let's talk about it and let's figure it out. Whether you buy now, next week, next month, next year, or never, doesn't really matter, right? It's information that you want to have as a starting point to figure out how to get to where you want to go.
I love it. Matt, the mortgage guy, again, greatmortgagebroker.com. Figure out where you're at. Maybe you think you can afford 550 and you only can afford 520. Might as well learn now versus learning later. Matt, you're amazing. Thanks again.
Thanks, Mike.